weekend's game already.
Gotcha.
I'm sure it may be the CBS game
Mm.
because it's Georgia, not because it's us.
It's 12 o'clock kick.
It's a 12.
Yeah, Eastern.
So it must.
So he'll do the 10K. Like it's just going to be him. So he'll probably just go back to his room and watch it or something.
Yeah. I want to watch
10K. You'll be done at like 7 a.m. So
it starts at 5. You'll be done at 6.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, George will be done at 5:45.
Yeah, he'll be done. He'll be done by 6 for sure.
He'll be back in his room by 6. Guys, so fast.
He'll be back in his room by 6. But yeah, he'll be showered and have a second meal by the time that game kicks.
Right.
See, I'm nervous. I'm actually gonna be a nervous wreck though on Saturday.
Who you guys play Saturday?
It's Purdue, and they've been
upsetting everybody.
They've been upsetting everybody.
Oh, that is
and it's
true.
in West Lafayette.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
oh man, I'm so nervous about that game.
For real, I know that's the worst.
Could you just come off a big emotional win and then you just flop the next week? That's what happens.
I know. That's why I thought we had a chance against who was that earlier? A&M, because they beat Alabama the week.
That's right.
Yeah, it didn't work. Yeah.
We're probably going to be in, I think the first playoff committee show is tomorrow. We're probably going to be in the top 4, so it's going to be like all this hype, like on campus.
Yeah,
like
you will be. Yeah, you will be. I bet you'll be 3 or 4.
Yeah. The projection has us as 3 right now, and with Bama at 2. So Maddie B was like texting me this morning about that. I'm like, oh my god, I can't. Like if that ended up being the final, like
what it has Georgia, Bama, Michigan State,
and then Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma.
Yeah. They don't have Cincinnati.
I know, like
they shouldn't be in there, dude. Any of those teams
should be in there.
Any of those teams would kill Cincinnati.
I know they would, but Cincy should be in there until
they would get rolled. They would get rolled by any of those teams.
Just put them at the 4 because Georgia's going to roll whoever number 4 is. Like they're so good.
Anyway, yes, we need to do a sports show. Okay, so here's what we're doing tonight, everybody in the live chat. Welcome back, Jennifer. By the way, thanks for all the great info on Genie Plus.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing listener questions, obviously, first because it's Wednesday. And then for Friday's show, we are going to do a Run Disney weekend tips for the non-runner. But we'll also talk a little running stuff, too. That's how we can kind of sneak it in without.
Yeah, there you go.
Let you know. Because we know not everybody's a runner.
True.
But this is the first Run Disney weekend since February of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, princess.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm trying to get airfare for that week.
Dude.
We were talking about that earlier, Mike. I'm like, gosh.
Yeah, I know. My flights, I got them both $89 each way because I was trying to change them. Dude, they're like $450 now.
Whoa.
I know.
Wait till it gets a little closer. I mean, not like close, but
well, it's like he's time for a wine and dine, which is like in 4 days. So
no, I'm talking. I'm going down. I'm scheduled right now to go Thursday and come home Monday. But I was thinking about going down like Saturday and coming home Sunday night, like just doing the races and coming home. Those flights are crazy. Like for the weekend, and usually the weekend flights are cheaper.
Yeah. Well.
It's crazy. I was just going to go down. Like I was going to maybe skip the 10K, just run that, like go down Saturday, like morning-ish, because our high school football team is playing in the playoffs. Dude, we rolled. Okay, Hazelwood West. You know Hazelwood West, Ricky. We played them in the first round last week. It was 35-0 in the first quarter. We're sitting in a downpouring 40-degree rain watching them. And it was so sad. We were just killing it. They didn't even line up wide receivers at some point. It was so bad. Anyway, so this week we play Timberland, so that's going to be a good game. We've already beaten them once, but I kind of want to watch that game. So I was thinking about skipping the 10K because there's no way I can actually watch the game and make it to the 10K. So I was thinking about maybe going down Saturday morning, going to the expo.
What you got to do, man?
And running the half, and then coming home after the half. There's like an 11:30 flight. I can't decide. I think I could make. Do you think I could make an 11:30 flight?
Yes,
in the morning.
Yeah. The race starts at 5.
I mean, are you showering? That's all that matters.
No,
that's what it comes down to.
I probably wouldn't shower because the race starts at 5. I could be done by 7:30, 8 o'clock. Uber over to the airport. Flight takes off, like boards at 30 minutes before.
I don't know, man.
That's close. That's just
really
a little
close.
too close for comfort for me. like a lot too close for comfort, actually.
I'd love to see you try it though. I'll
Well,
make for
I
a
mean,
great
you
story
missed
no
your
matter
flight.
what.
After a Star Wars race, though, I did that one time where I went straight from the end of the race, went back to Wilderness Lodge, grabbed my bag, got an Uber, got to the airport, boom, got right on the plane.
What time was that flight?
I can't remember though. I'd have to look it up. It was that time we were down for that Magic for Less.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I did that race.
Yeah, it was right after that. I remember because I don't know. I'll probably stick with my flights. I don't because I just don't want to spend all the extra money. Who knows? Just my side has been killing me. I probably shouldn't even run the race, but we'll see because I couldn't even run 6 miles this morning. So if I can't run this week, I'm not going. But we'll see. So ticked. I'm serious. That Chicago Marathon messed me up. It was too hot. And I've heard other people are having trouble since then too. I don't know if I got dehydrated or what.
It's possible. You just need to drink lots of water.
Here's the thing. And looking back, I didn't think about this. When I got done with the race, Pam met me. And you remember that picture I had of that hot dog? Like I was eating that hot dog.
Yeah.
Right? Like she met me with the Chicago dog. And so she's like, did you run through sand? I was like, sand? I was like, no, I've been running.
You were salty.
Dude, I was covered like with salt. Like my whole legs were, it looked like I ran through sand.
Yeah.
That's how much salt I had on my body.
Yeah, you need to drink more water.
It happens to me all the time.
You look like that? I mean, dude, I did. I looked like I did.
You need to drink.
When I finish a run, I've been at the beach.
Okay, I'd never noticed that before. I was like, whoa.
Oh, that's me. But I don't ever drink water. So
I don't either.
I'm a camel.
And that day I had though, that was the ironic thing is that I've been like I did. Somebody said somewhere like alternate between like Gatorade and water like each mile.
That's what I always do.
Like switch back. So I did that. Like I knew what was going on.
I think Georgia taught me that move. Speaking of Georgia.
Yeah, I think so.
There we go. Boo. Oh, she's all set up.
All right, so we need some questions in the chat, if you don't mind. Put some questions in there. We got some in the inbox, and we'll do this. But yeah, questions are appreciated tonight because we got through a ton in the inbox last week. So
that's good.
Here we go. Hey, Lonnie's in here.
Yay!
Oh, Jennifer. Lonnie. Way to go, Saints! Yes, taking out Tampa yesterday. That's what I'm talking about. Sorry. Getting excited over sports again.
Yes, I know. I talk sports all day.
You know my introduction today is going to be about sports. I'm just saying. You know what I'm going to give a shout out to.
Yes.
Lay down.
All right. Here we go. That's 1991 already. Welcome to episode 1991 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope this week is going well for you and for all the Run Disney runners. Yes, it's that week. It is race week. We've been waiting forever for this week to get back. We've been waiting here about 18 months now, and it's almost time to get on those planes, get in the car, and as we joke here, pack the short shorts and the sneakers and all the goos and the gels and all those things. The people that don't run are like, what are you talking about? The compression sleeves, all that stuff, throw it in the bag. And then when you get there, you're going to be like, I totally forgot 17 things that I should have brought with me. But it's okay. That's why they have an expo. But today we're going to be here to answer your listener questions, and they aren't going to be about running today. Maybe they'll be about running, but probably not. We're going to talk a little about running and Run Disney weekends for the non-runners on Friday. But today is all listener questions, and joining me today, my buddy, who we've run a dopey challenge together. And man, was that a challenge, and was that an adventure that day. And he is one proud Sparty up in the mitten. We have Scotty G. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Mike. Happy to be here. Just got to throw out a big old go green for the Michigan State Spartans. I know it's Wednesday, but I'm still on a high from last Saturday. It was the most epic weekend in East Lansing I've ever experienced. Just thousands and thousands of people. Halloween weekend going on. It was just insane, and the Spartans pulled through. So, but yeah, I'm happy to talk Disney. I'm not going to talk about football all day. Let's talk about Run Disney and anything Disney today.
So real quick though, I do want to ask you that because if you are a sports fan, College Game Day, which is the ESPN college show that travels around the country, goes to the biggest game every Saturday, and do the prediction show and stuff like that, preview the weekend. They're in East Lansing where Scott lives. He lives near campus. I got to get there because I got to check this out. Because you said you're just going to go you told me, I was like, because you're stressed about the game like I get.
Yeah.
I was stressed, and we're playing Vanderbilt. That talks about how bad our season is at Mizzou. But you're like, I'm just going to go on a run and listen to the stadium. That's how I'll know how the game's going. I'll listen to the crowd. And I mean, how would you compare the environment? Is it like a New Year's Eve, like Epcot environment, or how was Lansing, especially win that night?
It felt even insane. So I actually told Elizabeth, so the Detroit hosted the Super Bowl like in the early 2000s, and I didn't go then, but like I could only imagine like what a Super Bowl would feel like. I mean, there was just hundreds of thousands of people. So you're right. So I went for a run, and I could listen to the game on my run. So like that's how close to the stadium, and I ran through campus, like, and it was just so awesome. Like the stadium is jam packed, 80,000 people in the stadium, but there's still like another 100,000 tailgating, and like you can hear every roar from the crowd. You can hear like every penalty being described. You know, like it was just like being in the stadium, just not being able to like see it. But it was awesome when I was running because I was listening to the game too, like in one earbud, and then listening to the crowd noise. But like I'm watching the game as I'm running because like every like tailgate has like a generator and a TV out, and they're just watching the game. So like I actually watched the whole game basically on my run. It was one of the coolest experiences for not actually being in the stands that I could ask for. It was so awesome.
Very cool. All right, we'll find out how Sparty is ranked with the college football standings this week. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so also joining us, speaking of another college football hotbed, she's down in the state of Georgia, who my Mizzou Tigers will take on this Saturday. Look out. We might pull the upset. Probably not. We have Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
I don't think you're going to get the upset. Just throwing it out there.
I'm saying if it happens, I'm going and cutting down a piece of the hedges myself.
All right, that's fine. Yeah. So football. Go sports.
Sorry. I love football.
Yeah, no, things are good here. I mean, it's been a crazy sports week. Let's just put it that way here in Atlanta. So that's all I'll say about that. It's been a crazy sports week. So yeah.
When I went to bed last night, because we record on Mondays, when I went to bed last night, I thought we'd be talking about a Braves World Championship by the time we recorded tonight.
Look, when you live in Atlanta, you know full well that you better not expect anything good to happen to your sports teams. So you just kind of like hope and pray, and you've got 3 games to 1, and you're like, they're gonna lose this. It's totally gonna go to the 7, and they're gonna lose. So I mean, we're still fully expecting them to lose. So
not me. I'm expecting the Braves will get. I think they'll get it in Game 6.
They got to. I mean, this would be an epic choke at this point. So
but it's Atlanta. We are full of epic chokes. I'm just saying, you have seen us play the Super Bowl. Losing. It's just, I'm just saying, we are so used to disappointment in this city that we're just like, if we finally pull it out, we won't believe that it'll happen until we get to that 9th inning and we're up. Like that's pretty much the only way that's going to happen. And it's got to be like the last strike. We're still not going to believe it's
I just got to say, this is probably on no one's BOGP bingo card that Ricky is talking about sports.
I know.
This episode. Like, how great is that?
Coverall. That's exactly it.
Exactly.
Postage stamp, whatever.
That was definitely not a thing on our BOGP bingo board that we had created. So next bingo board. Yeah.
Yes, we got to get the first question of the day because it is from Mary, and she says, help, time-sensitive question for the podcast. Hey, guys, we're headed down on November 5th. So a bit of a time-sensitive question for us. Let's say my parents are a little or very technology illiterate, and we were going to purchase Genie Plus for the Magic Kingdom day of our vacation. Will having them be a part of our friends and family give me access to purchase it for them and book their rides with us? We'll be staying at 2 different resorts, so getting together before 7 a.m. won't be an option. Thanks for all you do. Maybe we'll see you down there. Mary's in Buffalo, New York. She says, go Bills. There you go.
There you go.
They're having a good season. All right. So, Ricky, what do you know? I mean, with friends and family, does that allow? Because how's it going to work? Because if you don't have the phone, that's going to be kind of a little bit. But would that work?
I believe if you're connected with friends and family, you can choose who's, in your party as far as who you're making Genie Plus reservations for. Again, I haven't played with it yet because I haven't been down there since they introduced Genie Plus. But I would imagine that, as long as they have purchased, Genie Plus or somehow you've purchased it for them, then you should be just fine. And
I agree with that. Because what if you have like a 5-year-old who doesn't have a device, So So I feel like as long as everyone is linked together, you'd be good. And I'm heading down November 5th as well. So maybe we'll cross paths. That'd be awesome.
That's exciting. And Jennifer's chiming in that you can purchase for your party or plan together and purchase separate. So there we go.
That's what I thought, but I'm always nervous to say yes. I
know when we haven't experienced it fully ourselves. I know based off of following other people's what we've seen other people do, it is hard to say. I think that you can when you haven't actually done it yourself. So yeah, and I still won't be doing it. I won't be doing it for a while, but hopefully I'll be doing it sooner rather than later. So,
all right. Well, I bet you've written about this one. Becca in our live chat, who I believe is down in Australia right now, is asking, can you guys talk a little bit about the new character experiences, which if you've been following the news, they've actually been renamed. They're no longer called character meet and greets. They're called character sightings.
Right. Because you're not actually meeting and greeting.
Right. You're citing the characters, which I like that because it kind of, you're in the room, you're seeing the characters. You're not meeting and greeting, which I mean, it's splitting hairs, but I mean, it's good, I guess. So what, Ricky, I mean, have you written anything about that or what would you expect?
No, but definitely what I'm seeing is that it's kind of, if you've seen kind of the character experiences they have that have been outside, it's very similar to what those are. So like I've met Anna and Elsa in Norway. They meet outside. They are sectioned off from the guests, so you can't get close to them, but you can still stand. You can take selfies, you can ask, have conversations with the characters, things like that. So you're still going to be able to do those kinds of things in the indoor character sightings, like with Mickey Mouse and the princesses, the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. So you're still going to have the opportunity to do those kinds of things. It's just you're not going to be able to go up and hug them, and get autographs and things like that. So you're still going to be able to see them and talk to them. And get that selfie or the picture the best you can. There are no PhotoPass photographers there right now, so just keep that in mind as well. But I mean, at least we have this opportunity because we didn't have it before, and so many, at least indoors anyway. And I know so many people, that's one of those things where I was like, okay, when is Disney going to introduce character meet and greets again? And well, I mean, in this case, character sightings. Disney was going to be back when character meet and greet sightings are back. So hopefully those people that were sad about this not being a thing are now happy because at least they can see the characters. I know it's a bummer that you can't go and hug, Mickey, but at least you can see him and have a conversation with him. So that's kind of cool.
So is there like a physical barrier between yourself and Mickey? Is he standing behind like a little like half fence or something?
Yeah, I think they have actually. I think they just have those, that elastic, partition, they string across. I think they just have those up. From what
they
I've
have like
seen.
the Run Disney gates.
Yeah, exactly.
Or no, it's the cones. It's Bob's cones.
Bob's cones.
Bob's barricades. Yeah, the 1-800 Bob's barricades. Yeah, that's exactly it. Not the red rope.
Yes.
Okay. Lisa's got a question and a good comment here. She says it's been months since any mention of the Disney dining plan. Do you think we'll get it back before January of 2022? Did we not hear that the Disney dining plan would return by the end of 2021? I thought that at some point, like in the summer, I thought they said it'd be back by the end of the year. And that dog is excited about some Disney dining plan.
That dog is ready to eat.
I don't know. Yeah, the dog wants to eat something. It sounds like something may be eating that dog. I don't know, Scott. I mean, do you think? Here's the thing. I've always said, because my guests were asking about this question at the Magic for Less quite often, over the past year. And I said, I think we'll get the Disney dining plan back when all of the restaurants are back open and there's no seating restrictions, because the whole thing is you can't have a Disney dining plan unless you have enough capacity for folks to be able to use up all their credits, right? Because then it would be almost like fraud. If you're selling these credits and people have a hard time redeeming these credits they've already paid for, it's not really fair. It's not a good system. However, I mean, because there's no big difference in people have to sit down and eat. It doesn't matter whether you're paying out of cash or paying with dining credits, Disney's way. I think it's a capacity issue. And right now it could be a labor shortage, but I would think Disney wants to do this because they want to get your money on the dining up front.
I don't know, man, because as someone that likes to book dining, I can't ever book it. So one thing I always think is like, they want the dining plan to encourage booking in these restaurants, but like, without the dining plan, I still can't get like some of my favorite restaurants or any restaurants for that for that matter.
And
And
I
it's
do
kinda like
wonder if it's a shortage, a staffing shortage
It
is
could be
the
a staffing
problem,
shortage
which
for
very
sure.
well could be the case. Yeah.
But I look at it like with the hotel discounts, the resort discounts that we haven't seen in forever. They don't need to put a resort discount on because they're all booked. They don't need to do a dining plan because everyone's eating at the restaurants. Like,
Scott, that's probably one of the smartest things that I've heard you say, in the sense of like thinking about that. Like, I hadn't thought about it, but you're right. Like, there's no need to have a dining plan if dining is already filled. So you're right. The dining plan, the whole point of it is to get restaurants filled and seated. So
but it could be a bunch of other variables why those restaurants are always full. It could be staffing shortages and other variables, but that's just what my thought is on it. Like, if all the restaurants are constantly full, they probably don't need the dining plan. But I think there's other things with it too. So
100% agree with you on that. And
here's the thing. Here's why I think Disney would want the dining plan to be back. And this is just kind of thinking about it from a financial point of view. I would bet probably more than 50% of guests leave their vacation with some kind of credit unused, whether it's a snack credit, a counter service meal, or even a table service meal. Think if you leave with a table service credit, like for each person in your party, and you just didn't schedule enough ADRs, or you got down there and you thought it was easy to get in. I mean, think of that. I mean, that is just free money. I mean, that you're paying for a meal that you didn't even have to deliver on. I would think that's why Disney, I mean, because everybody listening to this show, like, we're probably getting a great value out of the Disney dining plan. Like, if you're going to buy it, you're probably using it to your advantage, or at least you're breaking even. But I mean, the casual guest who buys it as part of an all-inclusive package, I mean, if I was going to some destination that I didn't know much about, I could probably walk out of that vacation and maybe not use every single credit that was coming to me.
Yeah.
Disney
that. I've seen people, at like Pop Century leaving, and they're like, yeah, I have extra credits.
Well, I did that one night. Yeah. Well, I remember when we used to drive, man. I remember we got like Intamin donut boxes for the ride home. We had all kinds of snacks because we had so many snack credits left. Because remember back in the day, you got like a dessert with every counter service and table service meal. So we never got like snacks because you would, and you got an appetizer back then too. So like, you had an appetizer, you had a dessert. Like, we were never hungry enough to have a snack. So then we ended up with like snack credits, and we buy, because you would get like a whole box of like 8 donuts at Pop Century for like 1 snack credit. It was ridiculous. And full bags of chips.
We all had that one thing, like, we wanted to come back, like Run Disney was on my list. Oh man, I can't wait till that comes back. Dining plan is one that we haven't seen. One on my list that I probably doubt we'll ever see again is the Tables in Wonderland card. I want that back so bad. But like, to my point earlier, like, they don't need to have it. They don't need it. They don't need to discount the food right now.
Agreed. I mean, you're 100% right with that too. Yeah, I don't know if we'll see Tables in Wonderland come back, and if we do, I mean, I don't know that it'll be like in the same.
$600 a person.
Yeah, it'll be very expensive, and it won't be in the same format. I am certain. So.
Sure.
Also, sorry about Daisy. The cat scared her, so she freaked out.
Halloween is recorded. It's the Day of the Dead. Maybe it's kind of the thing. Okay, so that is the thing, though. I would say Disney dining plan will come back sooner rather than later. I would say Tables in Wonderland, for the reason Scott said,
it's not.
That thing's a goner. I mean, for right now, because that doesn't bring much to the table. That was just a thing. I think it was used to kind of fill up the tables for, especially with locals and annual pass holders, just to encourage them to get into those restaurants, but like Scott said, like, you're just begging for a table at this point. Like, please.
I'll go out at 60 days now to book reservations, and I can't get it. I can't get anything. It's crazy. Like how full these tables are getting, these reservations.
That's right. And Lisa in the live chat, she says Disney dining plan works very well for our family. It's paid and no credits go unused. And that's the ideal way to use the Disney dining plan, right? Because the thing is, you get down there. When I'm on vacation, I'm one of those people that it's my personality. This is why I love cruising. I love getting on the ship and not worrying about any like paying to see the movie on the ship, or when I'm going on shore, like at Castaway Key, what I'm going to eat for lunch. Like, I just go and eat it. Like, I don't have to pay for anything. My meals on the ship are all paid for. I love all inclusive. And so the Disney dining plan makes my vacation more all inclusive. I don't have to look at the prices and stuff. I just order what looks good. And that's the advantage of it. You don't have to think about it. Cause the thing is, like, I do this, like, now that there's no Disney dining plan, Scott knows, like, when we go out to eat, like, I will not usually order like the more expensive stuff. And it's not that, because it doesn't matter to me too much. Like I'm not a big foodie, but I will order the cheaper chicken, like from Father of the Bride or something. It's just how I am. But if I'm on the Disney dining plan, man, I'll live it up. Like I'll get it, because it's like, hey, or pay for it. So I don't know. I enjoy it. So but she's right. I mean, you don't want to let the credits go unused. So
can I ask a question? Can I ask you a would you rather right now?
Yeah, totally. Let's go for it.
So on Friday, November 5th, would you rather be watching a high school football team play in the playoffs or having Olivia's chicken with your buddy
Oh,
you're killing me, dude. What about having you come to the football game with some buttermilk chicken?
I'll fly to Missouri.
We'll sit on the 50. We'll sit on the 50. I'll get it worked out. We'll sit on the 50 at the H. And,
there we go.
Oh my God, it's gonna kill me. I know. I wasn't expecting we'd have home field advantage through the playoffs, but we do. So it's a tough one. I sat through the cold rain last Friday and 49-0. So we'll see. All right. Next, let's see here. We got another one from Jody. Thanks so much for creating my favorite podcast. Thank you, Jody. Let's see. How have wait times changed in the standby lines now that Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane is up and running? Mm-hmm. Ricky, what have you guys been watching? I haven't been like paying close attention.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now. And honestly, it's not, it's nowhere near what it was, how bad it was with Fast Pass Plus, which is what I was saying this whole time. I knew it would not shoot the times up like Fast Pass Plus did. The wait times are pretty, in my opinion, they're pretty good, all things considered. I mean, you've got 50 minutes for Big Thunder, for Splash, 30 for Big Thunder, 40 right now for Haunted Mansion, 50 for Peter Pan. I mean, before with Fast Pass Plus, you'd never see 50 for Peter Pan. I mean, it would always be 70 plus. 80 for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is up. I mean, that's average for that. It was pretty much always 80 for that. You've got 40 for Space, and Space is obviously one of the the individual Lightning Lane attractions. Moving over to Epcot right now, I mean, you got 55 for Frozen, 55 for Test Track, and those are the two longest that you've got at Epcot right now. Moving over to Hollywood Studios, of course, you've got 70 for Tower, but that fluctuates. You got 60 for Slinky Dog. You've got 75 for Rise, which again, Rise.
That's ridiculous. That's crazy because I never thought we'd see a line that short.
You know what? That's what happens when you don't have Fast Pass Plus.
I'm curious to know what it's going to look like this weekend. It
will be very interesting to see what it looks like this weekend.
Wine Race weekend has always been a nutty weekend.
True. You have a very good point. And I do know, like, obviously it's a Monday evening, but still, I mean, you've got a 75-minute wait for Flight of Passage, 55-minute wait for Navi. So, I mean, there are some waits, but honestly, it's not the and all of the smaller attractions, their waits are all 5-10 minutes, which is what they should be. That's what those waits should have been the whole time. So I'm not seeing them go way high with Genie Plus, individual Lightning Lane access. It's staying about the average as to what it was before when they weren't offering any kind of Fast Pass Plus or any kind of Disney Genie Plus or whatever. So the waits are pretty regulated right in that time frame of where they should be. And I know, people are saying, oh, but you do have to wait in line. Yes, but the lines are moving, which has always been my problem with waiting in line. When you waited in line beforehand with Fast Pass Plus, you were stop, start, and you stop for a long time. With this, you really are constantly moving. It's very rare when you're stopped for a long period of time. And that in my head, that messes with me. So not having the stop for a long time, I'm fine with waiting a little bit longer if I can just keep moving. So
I will say, just like almost everything else in the Disney universe, is that we had a lot of doom and gloom with this system coming online, and there was a lot of hesitancy.
I think I was the only person who was happy about it, to be honest. So
no, there were other people. I mean, but the thing is, it just it kind of came in and it's been going for 2 weeks. I mean, it hasn't been going very long, a couple weeks now at this point, but there hasn't been a huge shriek. There hasn't been people saying, "Oh my gosh, it's clogged everything up."
Exactly.
everything. So I think that's the best news. It kind of came in. We're kind of adapting to it. People are adding it to packages if they want to use it. Some people are saying, I'll just buy it a la carte on the days I think I may use it and just leave it off other days. I think that's the beauty of it. We're not experts at this yet. We're all kind of learning. Like Scott and I will be down this weekend. We'll see how it works for us. We'll come back with some firsthand knowledge. But, I think that is the good news, is that everybody's kind of just figuring out their own strategy. I mean, you're right, Scott. I mean, it's one of those things. Everybody's just got to kind of figure out what works best for them. It's not going to be what works best for everybody.
Correct. Yep. That's why I really haven't even been paying that much attention to the wait times. I just kind of want to get down there and experience myself. Mike, we're going to be great guinea pigs for this because we kind of talked about it. I think Wine and Dine is one of the craziest weekends.
Agreed. This will be a good test this weekend of the system for sure.
So, and I bet there'll be a lot of people purchasing it because you're going to have like these diehard Run Disney fans that are diehard Disney fans
who haven't been there in a long time because there have been no Run Disney races.
Or it's just like you're just going to have so many diehards, so they're all going to want to experience the new Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. So I think it's going to get overloaded this weekend, and we'll really find out what's going to happen.
That's a great point, because anybody that's willing to sign up for a Run Disney race is going to drop like $150 to run a race or $200 or whatever it is. They're not going to blink an eye at paying $15 for GD Plus for the day. I'm not. I mean, it's just
you're right.
That's like a goo. That's like one of the gels that you're eating. A couple gels during the race.
Yeah.
Everybody that's running the races, and because of the races, well, we'll talk about this a little bit more on Friday. But the runners tend to not stay till park close. So the runners will maybe get to the park a little bit after park opening, but they're bouncing out around supper time. So this is the Genie Plus is actually a really good buy for the runners, because you have a condensed park day because you want to be off your feet back to the hotel in the early evening. You can get a lot of rides in and then, get out. And I think you're right, Scott. This will be a good, and Jennifer mentioned this. The reason this weekend is always crazy is that there's a lot of stuff that happens this weekend. You got the race weekend. You got Jersey week. I believe it's Jersey week again. You have Veterans Day weekend, which is this weekend. Shout out to all the veterans. Thanks for your service. And also, so many school districts have fall breaks. And I know it's been all screwed up since COVID. Like, people have breaks everywhere. They just made a break for my wife's district. They decided to have a break over Thanksgiving for the whole week. They decided it 2 days ago. So, I mean, districts are just doing all kinds of stuff. So, again, and I'll tell you what, I mean, there is like not a hotel room to be found for days. So I'm just, it could be insanity down there this weekend. So I think, this is going to be, Disney's got to be looking at this coming weekend as like the first stressor on Genie Plus to see how the system will really work, especially like going into Christmas.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see. All right, let's see. Speaking of Christmas, Nikki has a question here in the live chat. We'll be at Walt Disney World from January 2nd to the 7th. Will there be any Christmas decorations still up? Wilderness Lodge tree, Grand Floridian gingerbread house. See, yes, you will have those up. I'm sure they will be up still, because they're usually up for marathon weekend, and that's the second.
Yeah. I just don't know about the gingerbread house at Grand Floridian, but definitely...
I will be able to tell you. Give me 1 second, because I know that Disney actually released the full dates of the gingerbread house this year. So
they're building it as we're podcasting right now, by the way.
What'd you say?
They're building it as we're podcasting.
They are, which is really cool. Watching it actually be built is probably one of the neatest things. But okay, so
while Ricky is looking that up, I will say about the resort trees, like, I've seen some of the resort trees come down during marathon weekend, which is when those dates are. So like, you will see some resort trees, and I'd recommend like camping out and watching it. Like, I'll never forget. Like, I went like live on Instagram or Facebook or whatever back in the day, watching the pop tree get dismantled, and it was so awesome, like, to watch. And it's just a cool process to see. So I'd recommend, like, Wilderness Lodge would be awesome to watch and put that one down.
All right, I have some bad news.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Seriously, the second?
Yeah, so the gingerbread house at the Grand Floridian is lasting from November 10th to January 1st.
Whoa!
That's why I said I felt that sounded right. I didn't think it would be all the way.
Yeah, so January 1st, and then the beach club, they are building the gingerbread, the gingerbread carousel, and it is November 1st, so it started this week until January 2nd. So
I can't believe they wouldn't leave that. I don't know. I'm just like a traditionalist. Like, you don't take it down on. Well, I guess some people take it down on New Year's Day, but like, leave it a couple extra days. What day is the first? Is it like a Sunday?
It's weird this year. Yeah, the first is a Sunday, I think, or Saturday, I think.
Let me look. Hold on. The 1st is a Saturday. Yeah.
Huh.
And then the only other gingerbread display that they're having this year is going to be at Epcot in the American Adventure Rotunda. And it is a recreation of the Lincoln Memorial, Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and the American Adventure building in miniature. And that will be up from November 26th through December 30th.
And those things are made out of gingerbread?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. I didn't hear about that. That's pretty neat idea.
Yeah, they do they do a display at the American Adventure every year. And usually it's the they do I know I've seen the Lincoln Memorial. I know I've seen oh gosh, what's the big tall monument?
The Washington
Monument. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what's the big one?
It's tricky.
Yeah, it's totally tricky.
Like
So
the arch. What's the arch called? Oh,
I know the arch. Yeah. So I've seen that there too in the past. So they do a really, really great display. I think last year they actually had it, and actually I'm certain they had the display in the pavilion where they had all the festival of the holiday stuff because they had the giant pavilion open in between Canada and the UK. So that's where it was last year, World Showplace. So, but this year, obviously, they're going to put it back in the American Adventure. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, check that out. All right, so we have a question here. William's asking. It's kind of an opinion. Will the Christmas party be worth the $200 price tag, do we think?
I
Scott,
think
you're
so.
going.
I think so. I'm
going.
going.
I hope so. You're going
I'm
over.
going.
Sold out too, by the way. Your party.
Yeah, my party was the first one to sell out. Like that just made me super pumped. But
I saw that.
So my ticket isn't
What has you
necessarily.
excited about it? I mean, let's go that angle. Like, what has you excited about the party?
I'm excited because I think being at a Christmas party before Christmas arrives just puts you in the spirit. And I did that a couple of years ago, and it was one of the best Christmas seasons I ever had because like Walt Disney World just put me in that frame of mind. Granted, like I'm going to a pretty early one this year, like November 9th or 10th or whatever it is. But it's just the atmosphere, that vibe of the party just gets me so pumped. It's gonna feel like a regular Christmas party. I think there's gonna be a parade and all that. So like I don't know, like there's something about the hard ticket events. I love the after hour events and all that. So like I think it's worth it, but I splurge a lot at Walt Disney World for extras, and I'm super pumped. I just love how it just gets you in the mood for Christmas, and that's what I'm really excited about.
What do you think, Ricky? I mean, what has? Because
we're gonna dress up too, Mike. Just FYI.
Of course you are. Yeah.
Nice. You got to. That's right.
For me, I don't know if it is. I will agree that I think that it is a better. I think the Christmas party is going to be a better experience than the Boo Bash was,
right.
Hands down. Because you are getting a full parade, you are getting a fireworks show specifically for the event, and you are getting a stage show. In that regard, it is very much more closely connected to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I mean, really, they could have just had Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party instead of the after hours, but they're kind of marrying the two together. Because they're it's gonna have the after hours aspects of the free popcorn, the free soda, the free treats, as far as like the ice cream novelties. So like they're really marrying the two together. That price range though is so expensive to me. It's $200 and that's the starting rate, and then it goes up to $250. And to me, like that's my threshold. And it hit, and I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing the Christmas party this year. Now I will be doing the Christmas party at Disneyland. I'm doing that next week. That one was actually cheaper than Walt Disney World. Actually, it was cheaper. I got the most expensive party, and it was still cheaper than what Walt Disney World was offering. So, I get a full parade. I don't think I get fireworks. Maybe I need to double check that. I know I get like special parties and things like that. I get to do the attractions with their overlays. So, for that, like that was worth it to me. And I'm pretty sure I get like holiday treats and stuff like that too. So that one was worth it to me. It was still expensive, and it was more than if it had been at Walt Disney World, it might have been more than I was willing to pay too. But because I don't go to Disneyland very often. I was like, I'm in, and I think that will be the case for a lot of people who go to Walt Disney World. If you don't go all the time, you may go, hey, it's worth it to me. If you do go all the time, like I do, it's not as worth it. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it from. For me, since I go a lot, it's not worth it. I can get my holidays other places. I think Hollywood Studios has the better holiday display anyway. So that's where I'm going. But, for Disneyland, for me, it was a no-brainer. Since I don't go very often and it gets me extra time in the park, I said, okay. So I spent the money. And like I said, it was cheaper for me to go to Disneyland. Who knew? So
I think too, like Scott said too, is like, this is early in the season. It gets you really excited for the coming season of Christmas. And because obviously we record these shows on Mondays for the week. We do that. And I was kind of surprised with how quickly, because, yesterday as we're recording was Halloween. We had Halloween, and we always make this transition rather quickly and abruptly with Walt Disney World. It's that meme that's out there with Cinderella, like, bam,
yes.
all of a sudden it's, Halloween, it's pumpkins, and boom, we're singing Christmas carols.
Bam.
It is the truth, but I felt like today, like it was more abrupt than it's been in years. Like, I mean, the Christmas tree was
the Christmas tree is up already, and I feel like that has taken many days.
It seems like there were people everywhere. I mean, all like within hours. There was a Christmas tree on Main Street. There were wreaths on Main Street. There was a gingerbread house was being built over at the beach club. They're making the carousel. I mean, Scott, I know this stuff kind of goes up this week, but did it not seem to you like they're doing this like all within like a couple hours? Like it was.
I was blown away by it.
It was like everywhere. All at once.
I was expecting slowly get there by Friday, because I think traditionally with the wine and dine race weekend, they like to have a lot of the Christmas stuff up because it's all the reasons we spoke earlier on the episode. But I was blown away that like I got some text messages this morning like, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? I'm like, you're kidding, right? Like Halloween has been done for like 10 hours already.
Exactly. I saw, Jingle Cruise, I think, is running.
Yes, it is.
Today. Yeah. I mean, I was pumped for that. I was like, oh, yeah. I mean,
and it's got new bits because they've obviously updated the Jungle Cruise too. So there's new little pieces to the story. So that's kind of nice too.
Not because they know how busy they're going to be this weekend.
Probably. So we got to get this done. Yeah.
See, I thought it might go the other way this year, though. I thought they might drag their feet because, like, they would almost have an out, right? Like, things are so screwed up, supply chain, blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody's blaming it. Like, it's always supply chain and labor. Like, right? I can see them, like, putting up the decorations a little bit slowly. I mean, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, in one day. Like, I mean, it was like everything was happening.
And they kept advertising, like, the holidays come December 12th. Like, I kept seeing that advertisement everywhere I went. I'm like, I'm going to a Christmas party on the 9th. Like, am I getting, like, messed over here? Like, is it really starting the 12th or what? But no, it actually starts November 1st, apparently.
So do you think the Christmas music will be playing? Like when we go,
I think the Christmas loop is playing.
Yeah,
we should ask someone.
That's what I'm talking about.
We should ask Pam.
Yes, we got to call her because I do love some Christmas loops. Oh man, I'm so excited. But the one thing I'm hearing now, again, I watch social media, is that there's not a whole lot of Christmas merchandise. That's like 2021 Christmas merchandise. Like the only thing people are seeing in the stores are like, now there was like a set of ornaments that are the park icons. Apparently they're real expensive, like Spaceship Earth.
Those look sweet.
Those were sweet. But I have like a set of those. I have actually a few sets of those from years past. And so I really don't need another one. But yeah, I want them, but I really don't need them. I want that train. I got the monorail, but I've always wanted that train for like the last 10 years, like the big, goofy train. But I'm just like, do I need it? But again, they're saying you can get, the ornaments at, Christmas shop and, Disney Springs and stuff like that. And, they have ornaments here and there and everywhere, but you're not seeing a lot of the like 2021 Christmas merchandise.
Yeah. You know what it is?
Grab it.
It's going to be just like my contemporary disappointment over the 50th. It's just going to show up and then they're going to open the boxes the second it comes and it's going to be off the shelf. So I'm sure it's been ordered, right, Mike? It's just going to be delayed getting stocked in the stores.
Right. I know. Seriously. Yes. Okay. One last question here, and we will close it out from Zach. Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and Scott. It was great to meet y'all at the 50th anniversary weekend.
Yay!
Yes. My wife and I are traveling to Disneyland in April. It's a good thing I got you two on. I was wondering, what is one restaurant we need to make sure we visit? Always love the podcast and look forward to meeting y'all again over wine and dine and marathon weekends. Thanks, Zach. See you this week. All right, Ricky, you give one restaurant, and then I'll let Scott give one restaurant. So what is one
gosh.
you missed Disneyland restaurant?
I am the worst with this because I'm not as familiar with Disneyland. So like I don't actually have
Blue Bayou or something like that.
I know Blue Bayou is obviously the one that everybody thinks of. But like that's not also Napa Rose. I feel like that's just Scott's list of
Those are both good ones. I'll give an answer while Ricky's thinking about it. To kind of go outside the box, I guess, a little bit there, because you always hear about Blue Bayou. It is a great restaurant, like the theming is like San Angel Inn, except it's Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, come on, like you can't do that.
Exactly, yeah.
It is so great. Napa Rose, like all the signature restaurants are really good, but one I think gets forgotten about a lot is Carnation Cafe.
Oh, good choice.
It's right on Main Street, USA. There's outdoor seating. I've had. It's funny because there's this like kind of coming back in Walt Disney World right now, but like that's where I had Walt's Chili for the first time. I've had one of the greatest like spicy chicken sandwiches I've ever had. But the atmosphere is cool because you're hearing those in April. It won't be Christmas time, so I'll be hearing the Main Street background loop. You see people walking by. If you get an outdoor seat, I'd highly recommend an outdoor table there. It's just cool. Like you're sitting outside having a table service on Main Street, USA, in Walt's Park. Just great atmosphere and great place to be.
Oh, sounds so good. That's my jam, man. Spicy chicken sandwiches and some chili. Now you're talking about
I know. In Southern California, you can't beat that.
No, right?
I don't need that fancy stuff. Now you are speaking my language. Yeah. That is it.
I've been trying to convince you to get to Disneyland for like 3, 4, 5 years, Mike. So now I'm going to work you with the food because there's a great Mexican restaurant too.
Oh yeah, is it Rancho Del Zorro?
Yes, it's a counter service, so that's why I didn't give that as my answer. But
that's the place where they invented Doritos, right?
The Frito like sponsored it, so the Dorito was invented there.
Oh,
and if you sit outside there, you're looking right at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Oh, like okay, I'm booking my Disneyland trip after this show.
You have to get a selfie in front of that place on your trip this trip.
Which one? Rancho del Zocalo?
Yeah, yes.
I have a selfie of it, Mike.
All right, Ricky, do you have one? Because we got to close this out. You got one real quick, or did
I think the Carnation Cafe was the one I was thinking of. I was looking at Plaza Inn, which
Plaza Inn's a great one too. Yep.
Yeah, but I think they're only serving breakfast there right now. Because I just tried to look it up and I was like, oh, I think they're only having breakfast. Obviously, Carthay Circle is another big one that a lot of people talk about. You also have the Lamplight Lounge. Is it the lounge?
Yeah, that's a really hard to get.
It's a really hard one to get. Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, I haven't even. I mean, like I said, I haven't tried anything. I really should probably try for my trip next week.
Another if you're looking for a really nice meal that you want to take the family out, like I know we talked about Carthay and Napa Rose, but Steakhouse 55 at the Disneyland Hotel.
But that's not open.
Is it not open
either?
Yet?
I don't think so.
Maybe in April
I thought I heard it wasn't opening. Actually, yeah, I think it's gone.
Like, I go 16 better at the Contemporary.
I don't think they're doing it. Yeah. But you always have, if you want like quick service, you always have like everybody loses their minds over Bengal barbecue. I know that's more of a snack place because they have a few like unique items there. People also lose their minds over the corn dogs, so that's something you might want to look into. And there was another one that I was trying to think of. There's one that also serves. It's not the Blue Bayou. It's a quick service.
You think about New Orleans Square. There's the French Quarter restaurant that has like the bread bowls that are phenomenal.
That's that's the one I was thinking of.
Honestly, so I thought this question might have been more towards table service, but I'll say as someone that loves table service meals at Walt Disney World, I actually prefer the counter service at Disneyland.
And that's kind of why that's why I haven't really booked anything for like dining at Disneyland, because I know they have such fantastic counter service options that I was like, do I really care if I have a table service meal at Disneyland? Probably not.
So I love how we just listed off like 15 items.
I know we totally did. I may have more.
So you can't go wrong
next week. I'm just saying. So yeah.
There you go. All right. He's set. I mean, get there and just kind of decide what you're looking for. So there you go. Right. All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for today's listener question show. Thank you for all the great questions. You have a question, you want to get right there in the inbox, just send that right now to Mike at BeOurGuestPodcast.com. You don't have to hit the live chat if you're not with us on Monday afternoons. Just Mike at BeOurGuestPodcast.com. Put listener question in the header, And we'll answer that here on the next podcast. It'll actually be next Tuesday instead of Monday. We're going to record one day late next week because of the races. Also, don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for your Disney trip planning needs. You can see all the great services they offer over at themagicforless.com. While you're there, please fill out that free, no obligation quote form. Once you do that, an agent will get back to you right away, and we'll be planning that trip together, whether it's Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney. We take care of it all. We can get you a great trip, lowest cost possible. Make sure it's an awesome vacation for you. So again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's almost the holiday season. We've been talking about the Christmas decorations going up. As you do that shopping this holiday season, please use our link. Just click through. It's one extra click. Takes you right back to the main Amazon site, and it really does help us out. It's Amazon. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Thank you so much. And thank you to our patrons for allowing us to put the show out 3 to 4 times a week, each and every week, all around the world. Because of your support, we get to have this fun and talk about Disney all over the world. Our patrons also get Mike in the Midwest every Thursday. So if you'd like to get in on the action over there, just visit patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Also, give us a follow on the social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Be Our Guest Mike. You can follow Ricky's adventures at Ricky Nibs on Instagram and Twitter. Scott's at Epscott, EPSCOT. Give him a follow as well. And of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube. All right, we're going to get out of here, and we'll be back again on Friday talking about Run Disney weekends for the non-runners. What happens if you're headed down? This weekend coming up, you're like, oh man, I'm going to be down there, but I'm not a runner. Uh-oh, what's going on? And if you're a runner, it's going to get you pumped up for the race weekend, because we're going to talk about expos and stuff too. And also, what about if you're going in the spring for the Princess weekend or the surprise weekend? Well, no, what's going on with that marathon weekend in January? We're going to give you some tips to make sure you know what's going on. If you just happen to be vacationing at Walt Disney World during a race weekend, I'll tell you what, there's some opportunities to get some pretty cool stuff happening. It's like a little bonus. It could impact your vacation, but if you have these tips we're going to give out, no sweat. You'll be just fine. So join us again on Friday for that. So for Ricky and Pam, and Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work, and safe travels to everybody headed down to Wine and Dine. And we'll see you real soon. Ricky just got up and went.
She just peaced out, man.
Save this one. Episode 19. She started listing all the restaurants.
I know. She just rattled them all off.
Oh.
All the restaurants. I'm like, come on. I can give some recommendations. I don't have to look at a list.
Yeah, I just say one.
And then I felt like I just had to keep rattling them off because she wasn't saying the ones I wanted.
Okay. I don't think they're going to be policing the buses, Jennifer. I would say you're probably fine to get on a bus because nobody's going to be out there checking. It's just the bus driver. Those bus drivers have no idea what's going on usually.
I'm very curious though about like this expo. Like you have to show the screenshot of your expo pass.
Dude, I haven't been able to do any of that because I tried to call today and nobody was answering the phone. I had to leave my name and number.
Yeah, it's weird.
I
might need to talk to them about Dopey too, man. Like I don't think I can do a full right now.
Yeah.
Howdy. Sorry.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But like I would love to move it to like the virtual so I can still get the medals.
Give it some time. Yeah, it's still
I know I still have time, but man, like we'll see how it goes. Like I should have been training all summer and I didn't.
I hear you, dude, because the Chicago Marathon messed me up. I know. Like dude, full marathons are no joke.
I feel good about the half though, like by doing that training run. Like I was whooped miles 11 through 13, but I know I can get it done now. But
because remember, it's a race, like you get that little extra kick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, remember.
I always say I gotta just get the 10. If I can get the 10, I'm good. And then for a full marathon, if I can get the 20, I'm good.
Yeah, 20 though. Ooh. I just know Chicago, man, whooped my. Like I'm still like not right from that. And it's been over 3 weeks. All right, so let's see. So what are the date? I have them somewhere. Let me see. I'll pull up the dates
for what, the race weekend?
The race weekends, just so we can give those. I have them here.
5th is the 5K. Expo is the 4th. We'll start.
No, for the like all the weekends. I have them like for
all the weekends.
Okay.
I thought okay.
Just so people, in case they have their vacations are planned, they'll know when they are. Okay, here we go.
Avoid it.
Well, I mean, it's fine.
Oh, it's totally fine.
Here we go. 1992. Welcome to episode 1992 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you and welcome to the Wine and Dine Race Weekend 5K morning. That's right. Rise and shine, get on those buses at 3 a.m., ladies and gentlemen, and get ready to run 3.1 magical miles today. It's going to be fun for all the lizards out there. This is the most anticipated 3.1 miles in the history of Run Disney. I can tell you that. Yes. But today, we're going to be talking about a little Run Disney, but we're talking about it from the perspective of the non-runner. What if you're headed down to Walt Disney World and all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Run Disney? What's Run Disney? Because this happened to me before. I remember. I am not kidding. This happened to me. I'll talk about it after I get Scott and Ricky introduced, but I'll tell you why this show came about, because this totally happened to me a long time ago in a value resort far, far away. So joining me today from down in the state of Georgia, where my Mizzou Tigers are going to pull the upset on the Bulldogs from her state, we have Ricky. Ricky, what's going on? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I'm getting ready to run around like a chicken with my head cut off because I leave for Disneyland on Sunday. Well, I mean, I leave for Maui first, but yeah, it's tough to be me, right? Yeah, exactly. What a terrible vacation I have planned. So yeah, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off over the next couple of days. So, and also panicking because I have like a 6:15 a.m. flight on Sunday, so that's no bueno. But
I'll pray for you. I'll start a prayer list.
You should, because that's gonna be real tough. Because I think I have to get up at like 2:30 in the morning to my house. Yeah.
I'll pray for you a second time, because Scott and I will be getting up at 2:30 in the morning.
That's true.
We're not going to Hawaii. We're paying money to go run, like being out in the heat.
You guys paid money to go run. I paid money to go to Hawaii. I think I win.
Yeah,
so I'm just throwing that.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing that out there.
I do pray for people. I will not be praying for you.
That's okay. I'm excited because I have found out that the hotel that we are staying at on Maui has penguins, and if I don't get a picture with a penguin, I'm getting a picture with penguin. I'm just telling you right now, there will be a selfie of me with penguin some way, somehow. I'm getting a picture with penguin. So
I want to see it.
Just another.
Yeah, I do want to see that. Even though you can very easily here in St. Louis at the St. Louis Zoo.
So Mike knows that I like penguins, because we went to the St. Louis Zoo and I was going nuts over penguins. I've always really had this weird thing with penguins. I love them. And then Mike bought me a shot glass.
Nice.
From the St. Louis Zoo that has a penguin and my name on it.
Nice. I have a sweatshirt with a penguin. I actually wore it over Halloween that I bought from the St. Louis Zoo. So see, we're both
We're very proud of our Puffin and Penguin Coast, or whatever.
Yes, and I think it's the same penguins that are at the St. Louis Zoo. So I think it's the same kind of penguins.
Yeah, they're aggressive little penguins.
They are aggressive little penguins. But no, I'm excited. It's going to be a really fun trip. The Disneyland portion, for those of you following along, is going to be the last half. So it'll be Thursday and Friday of next week. So if you want to follow along on all of my social, as well as the Be Our Guest social, I'm sure I'll be posting. And then I'll be going to the Christmas party. I'll be experiencing Avengers Campus for the first time, seeing Christmas at Disneyland for the first time too. Gosh, so many things, because I've only been to Disneyland once, so I am super pumped to get back there and experience the parks again. So yeah, I'm so excited. So if there's anything you want to see, let me know. I'll try, but I'm pretty much going to be like this the whole time.
Something I'd really like to see.
Yeah, what do you want to see?
I'd really like to see them put you in that thing where they shoot the Spider-Man across the building and like see you. That'd be like you flying across the building. That'd be pretty sweet. I don't think they allow that, but that'd be pretty sweet.
Probably not gonna go with no on that. But yeah, I'm so excited about it. I love Cars Land. I'm so excited to get back there. Seeing it decorated for Christmas will be awesome. I'm so excited.
That would be cool. Get Cars Land at Christmas. That'd have to be pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'm so stoked. So yeah, next week you guys should be following along with me. So
will do.
Yep.
All right. Also joining us from up in Spartyland, we have your friend of mine, hashtag Scotty G, actually down at Walt Disney World right now. What's up? He's staying at the Poly this weekend. What's up, Scotty?
Yeah, Ricky
Oh,
goes
wow.
to Maui and I go to the Polynesian.
Exactly.
Like, this is not cool.
What's wrong? I'm your top century. Something's wrong with
That's
this.
okay. I did a trip one time where the last time I went to Maui, I really sound really spoiled right now.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I know. I went to Maui, and then I think the following weekend I stayed with Florence at the Polynesian, so it was like real Hawaii, fake Hawaii, like back to back. So yeah, it was.
That's insane. This is actually breaking news for me. I did not know that you were going to Hawaii.
I didn't
guess
either.
we need to catch up, Ricky. But that's so awesome. I'm really jealous. I was supposed to go in 2020, but 2020 happened.
I mean, I was supposed to go to Tokyo this year, so I mean, you know, that didn't happen. So we were like, well, where can we go? And then Hawaii came to our minds.
I'll get there eventually, but very excited to hear about this trip. I will definitely be following along, as you know, I love all things Hawaii, and definitely Disneyland is like my favorite place to go.
Now,
so
I'm obviously not going to Aulani because Aulani is at a different island, so I will not be hitting up Aulani this time. So just a heads up for you Disney fanatics, just Maui, no Disney on Maui. So yeah.
But happy 5K to all the lizards running today. I hope everyone's listening while you're out there right now, dreaming about Hawaii. While hopefully you're not in the rain, because the weather doesn't look the greatest at the time of recording.
Look at the weather that far ahead of time. It's still Monday as we're recording. You can't.
I know. But I hope you're dry. I hope you're having a great race, and I hope you get that Snow White medal, because I'm very jealous, because I wanted that one, but I didn't register for the 5K, and it is the most anticipated 5K, as Mike said, because it's what kicks off the return of Run Disney.
Yes, and we're glad to be back. So we're knocking on wood, because we're still recording this one a little bit ahead of time, but I think we're going to be okay. So
I think we'll be all right.
So today we're going to take this perspective of, we know not everybody's a runner, so we don't want you to turn it off because you're like, oh, I don't wait. Famous line: the only way I'm running is if a bear's chasing me, and I'm just running faster than my spouse so that I don't get eaten, kind of thing. No. Because here's the thing, we're going to talk about, like, from the perspective of, if you're down there over a Run Disney weekend, and it could happen because these weekends typically happen like 4 times a year. There's a marathon weekend in January. There's a princess weekend in February. There's used to be a Star Wars weekend in April. This year it's surprise. We don't know what it's going to be quite yet. Maybe. Surprise. Who knows by the time this comes out, but probably not.
I was talking to Neil, and he said, like, I think it's going to be surprise. It's canceled.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, yeah, exactly. That'd be ironic. Yeah. But then this weekend that we're in right now is the return to Run Disney. It's the Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend presented by Aftershocks. Because they'll say that after. It's so funny with these, when you've been to enough of these Run Disney events, like, it gets in your head, because whenever they say the name of the race weekend, like 2020 Marathon, Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend presented by Cigna. Like, it's just like, it's in your head all the, because they say it every time. Inside joke. If you're a runner, you're like laughing. If you're not, you're just like, I've lost my mind. Anyway, so if you get down there on one of these race weekends, it could happen and you don't even expect, like, you don't even know. So I'll tell you, here's the first time I came across Run Disney or one of these race weekends was my wife and I, back, we were just school teachers. Paige was like 6 or 7. We just decided our Christmas break went into January until, like, the second week of January. We're Disney fans. We decided to drive down and stay at All-Star Sports, after Christmas. So we're down there, and I still remember this. We're sitting at the feature pool. I'm swimming with Paige. And by the way, it was freezing that day. I did not want to swim with her, but Pam made me get in the pool because I promised her back home before we left that I would swim with her because it would be warm in Florida in January. It wasn't, but the pool was heated. So I had to be in there. I was trying to, still trying to catch Pam. That's what she always says. I was in that, trying to catch her phase. So I was in the pool, and the thing was, like, I noticed, like, all these people are going by, like, with sneakers, and, people were, like, really fit and, like, running around all of a sudden. It, like, just, you could tell people were runners. And I found out, oh, this is the race weekend. And here's me. I was not in shape, but I was all excited because I'm kind, I used to, like, in high school, I was an athlete and I speed skated and stuff. And the thing was, like, I was like, oh, there's a race. I want in on that. So dumb me, I'm like, I want to get in on that. It was like the next day. I want to sign up. I want to get in the race. You can't do that. It's all sold out. But, that's how I found out that these events happen. And I bet this happens to so many people down at Walt Disney World. Like, you're there just on vacation by happenstance in February or January or April, or you're there this weekend because you're there just for Jersey week. And all of a sudden these people are showing up with, like, bright green shirts, and everybody's wearing Hokas, and everybody's, got, just, weird stuff that only runners typically get. So Scott, have you noticed that, like, as far as, we're going to give some tips, but do you think these runners all of a sudden show up and these other guests are like, what's going on? Have you seen that kind of look in folks, like regular vacationers?
Right. It definitely happens. I know, even like from like my personal connection, like here in Lansing, like I remember one of our marathons, someone came down like the day of the marathon and they drove. And well, I guess I'll just kind of jump into it. And they had no idea that there was a marathon going on. And as you know, the roads, a lot of roads are closed. Like the runners had to get through 26.2 miles on Marathon Sunday. So it was backed up on World Drive and all that. And they were just like so confused, like, what in the world is going on? Like, I'm just trying to get to my resort. I'm just trying to start my vacation. So really threw them off when they started like seeing thousands of people running on the roads. They're like, what is happening at Walt Disney World today? So it definitely can happen to many people that they get surprised. With all the runners in town.
Well, so let's give the dates for this year, the races that we know. So obviously it's this weekend. If you're down there this weekend, the races will be going on. The next weekend that would be impacted is Marathon Weekend. That's the biggest one of the year. That's going to run this year from January 5th to the 9th of 2022, obviously. Then you have the Disney Princess Half Marathon Weekend. That's going to run February 24th to the 27th. And then you have the Run Disney Springtime Surprise Weekend presented by Otterbox. They got it's funny. Princess Marathon Weekend doesn't have a sponsor, but the surprise one that we know nothing about has a sponsor.
I'm working on that. I'm trying to get it sponsored by #ScottyG. We're working on a deal right now.
Yeah, Marathon Weekend, that'll probably be sick now. But yeah, Princess doesn't have one. In the Surprise Weekend, which we don't have any idea what it is, they got a sponsor, Otterbox. Anyway, that one's going to be a little bit earlier than it usually is, March 31st to April 3rd. So and here's the thing. I give those dates not to freak you out, but I mean, somebody's right now saying, I have a vacation plan for that weekend and I didn't have any idea that a race was going on. You're cool. It's fine. Okay. So let's talk about what's going to happen, what these race weekends look like. Okay. So let me give you just the quick anatomy of a race weekend. So runners will typically, the race weekends usually runners will start to arrive usually on a Thursday. Outside now, Marathon Weekend stretched out a little bit more. Marathon Weekend in January, the runners will typically get there on Wednesday. I'm talking majority of runners that are doing like either the dopey or, it just depends. But most runners will get there on the Wednesday and go home on the Monday. That's kind of how it works. For these other 3 weekends, Princess, Wine and Dine, and Surprise Weekend in April, in late March, the runners will probably get there Thursday or Friday and leave on Monday. So they will be there for the whole weekend. However, this is not going to impact your vacation all that much. And here's why. On Thursday or Friday, most of the runners, all the runners are going to be required to go to what's called the Expo, which the Expo is the place that all the runners have to go and they have to pick up their race numbers. They're called bibs. And you also have to, kind of check in. And this is where you can buy any last minute stuff you forgot back home. If you need, I don't know, gels or goos or compression sleeves, or I forgot to pack my shorts when I went up to the Chicago Marathon. I had 0 shorts. All I had was khakis I was wearing. So I had to buy a couple. I know. So I had to buy a couple of pair of running shorts at the Expo, but you can buy. And here's the thing. Maybe you're down there and like you have somebody that's a runner in the family. Like this would be somebody that, like, say you have a kid that runs cross country or, somebody like that. They might get a kick out of going to the Expo because there's a lot of fun kind of running / Disney apparel that you can't buy in regular Disney stores. I mean, Scott, we've shopped a lot and this Expo is huge. It's over at Wide World of Sports. Now this year's going to be a little bit different because of COVID, modifications. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. But in typical circumstances, you can go over to ESPN Wide World of Sports and you can go around the Expo and you can buy a lot of cool, unique, stuff like running shirts, shorts, jackets, hoodies, stuff like that.
Get massages they're even like doing treatments there too. Like get taped up with all that K-tape or whatever it is.
KT tape, yeah. It's a pretty neat thing to see. So that's where the runners are going to go, like Thursday and Friday. And the races usually go, except for marathon, that'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the other weekends, the short race is going to happen on Friday. The medium race is going to happen on Saturday. And the longer race will happen on Sunday, usually a half marathon on Sunday. Now, here's the thing. These races all start at 5 a.m. That is super early, right? So what you're going to see is these runners are going to be getting on buses, and these are not the typical Disney buses. These are the motor coaches at about 3 a.m. at your hotels. I'm telling you what, if you want to see something interesting, and I know nobody's going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if you're not a runner to see this, but I'm telling you, it's almost worth the price of admission. Go out. I always stay at Pop Century a lot of times these race weekends. Go outside Pop Century's bus corrals at 3 a.m. on a race weekend and just look at how long the line is and take pictures of the costumes. Because at Run Disney events, people dress up in costumes. It's not real serious. And it is unreal. Like, the line is crazy long. If you saw this line as like a guest going to a theme park, you would have a heart attack. You'd be like, because I mean, no kidding. Like the bus will be at the very far end where the Disney Springs spot is, and you're back by where you get on Magical Express. And I am not lying. It is the length of all the buses, but they go pretty quick because they stack them. You get on, and plus you don't miss your start. It doesn't happen. So it's very interesting, but the runners are going to get on the buses at 3 a.m. They're going to go either to, like this weekend, we're going to go to the Magic Kingdom parking lot, which is usually a lot different because a lot of times you go to the Epcot parking lot, but Siri's trying to tell me something. But the thing is, most of these events are going to be done by the time that you as a day guest is going to get going for your day. And that's why these races start at 5 a.m. is so that you're going to be fine by the time you roll out of your hotel room, say 7:30 or 8 o'clock. But it does kind of pay on Sunday to kind of look and see like what you're going to do. So Ricky, you've been there many times over a race weekend and not run. What advice would you give somebody who, say, as far as planning before you go, because this is probably too late for this weekend, but say you're going in January, February, April, like what advice? Like, should you like avoid Epcot on Sunday when there's a half marathon? Or, I mean, what do you say? Like, what's some good things you've learned?
I mean, if you really want to avoid runners, then yeah, I would avoid Epcot on for the marathon weekend on Sunday. But actually, one of the coolest things is, especially during marathon weekend, because the park is actually open, going to Epcot on Sunday and cheering for the runners. There's this special electricity that happens by being able to help cheer on the runners. I know that I did this obviously before the lizards existed and things like that, but I would go to Epcot and just kind of cheer, for that day, and I'd be walking in the park and I would graciously cheer the runners because it's really cool to see them accomplishing this feat. This is the last portion of the race. So getting, to experience that with them and helping them along, because this has got to be the hardest portion of the race too, because you're so close, but not quite there. So that, like, just cheering them on and giving them that extra feedback is so huge. Another thing that's really important, especially for those who are not running, is to know that transportation in the morning will be a little, not rough, but just know that you may have some hiccups, especially if you are headed to either, the Magic Kingdom, or I was going to say Epcot, sometimes the Magic Kingdom, depending on how early it is. So just know that you'll want to pack your patience. I would take Disney transportation on those days. I would not try to drive if you can avoid it, because using Disney transportation is going to be such a huge part, because they're going to be able to go around things that maybe regular guests can't necessarily do. So I would definitely take Disney transportation if I were you. If possible, I know this may be hard this weekend because you've already got stuff planned, but consider maybe staying at a monorail resort. That way you can just quickly go around the loop, or even a Skyliner resort in this instance, because that adds a whole nother level to all of this, because now we do have the Skyliner. So if you're staying at a Skyliner resort, you don't have to worry about hitting the roads. You're just, you can take the Skyliner and you're easily at two of the parks. So I think probably the hardest park to get to, besides Magic Kingdom, just because of how it's situated and things like that, it's probably going to be maybe Animal Kingdom. just because there's one way in, one way out, no other way but the bus as well. So that's going to be probably the biggest tip that I have for you is to try to stay at a resort that has some form of transportation for you. That's going to be easier than a bus if you can. So
that's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point because Disney transportation is going to have access to roads that you may not have as driving your personal vehicle, because roads will be closed until the race is cleared, which could be 8 o'clock. It's not that late. I mean, they make you do a 16-minute mile. And so
no, and it's only in the morning. I mean, that you have to worry about it.
You're talking 8 or 9 o'clock. Now, on Marathon Sunday, these things will be closed until noon because, 26 miles and it's all over property. So you're talking that day there are significant delays to traffic. But for the half marathon starting at 5, the roads are cleared by 10, usually. So, it's early morning, breakfast, stuff like that, getting to the park for rope drop. Scott, let's talk about this. So let's get some good news out there for folks that aren't runners, is that I would say if you're going to a theme park, once you're in the theme park, you're really golden on these race weekends, because although the runners go to the parks after they run these races, like today, after you run the 5K, a lot of people have their medals on, they'll go to the theme parks, they'll ride rides. What I've noticed from our experience over the past 5 years doing these races together with all the lizards is that, yeah, we go to the parks and get pictures, with our medals and stuff, but we don't tend to ride a ton of rides. We'll ride some, we'll do People Mover, we'll do Pirates, but we mostly kind of just do photo ops and sit around. We eat a lot, we snack, but we don't I don't think the runners clog up the attractions a whole lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. I think there will be times where you'll see some runners on attractions, right? Because it's their vacation too, so some of them might have their family with them, so they'll want to do some family stuff. But you're absolutely right, Mike. For the most part, if you're trying to do attractions, I think it's gonna be like a normal day. The crowd, when you're on the walkways, might feel a little busier because there's gonna be more people in the park because you got 20,000 runners on property. But for the attractions themselves, I don't think the wait times are going to be any significantly different than normal. But I will say there will be some time from time to time, though. Let's face it, these are adults that, we have a big group like us, like the Lizards. There's other running groups too. So there might be some times where you see a group of 50 from a team, just hey, we're going to ride the Jungle Cruise. So you might see some backups from time to time if they all decide to go on an attraction at the same time. And I'll just warn you, sometimes it can be a little obnoxious too. Us Lizards, we get excited.
I know, because everybody's getting together with these groups. We haven't seen each other. Everybody's kind of virtually talk to each other, train together with, posting selfies. So let's talk about one of the things we've run into huge problems under normal circumstances, and it's table service dining on a race weekend. Now that, Scott, you can talk to that because you kind of mentioned that on Wednesday's show. This is a huge challenge on these race weekends because runners run to eat and eat to run. And, that's this kind of is like your big splurge. You run a half marathon, you want to have a good meal, and all these restaurants are picked over for these race weekends. So that's one of those things you really got to go in and make those ADRs at 60 for these right now.
Yep. So that was actually the biggest thing I wanted to hit upon. The biggest challenge you're going to have is dining reservations because you just hit it, Mike. All the runners want to eat. I run because I love eating.
Exactly. That's it. I don't run because it's that much fun at 5:30 in the morning. I like to eat my Taco Bell.
And every runner has a story and they have a certain race they're trying to accomplish. Someone could be out there and the 5K is going to be my big thing I want to do. So they might have this big celebratory dinner on Friday night because that was the day of the 5K. I will say for most runners, the big challenge is oh man, I want to hit the half marathon mark, which is on Sunday. So I'll say on Sunday night, you'll see a lot of California Grills, Narcoossee's, all those signature places completely booked because that's a big celebration place where they want to have their dinner. So the only advice I can get, and it's kind of what we've been preaching for a while now, is just at the 60-day mark, if there's something you really want, just go in and beat a runner, be faster than these runners when it comes to booking those ADRs.
And be flexible too. Don't be scared to go to the lounges and order there. I think that's kind of a good option for these race weekends. And I don't know, Ricky, what do you think about, remember that marathon weekend, Scott? I think you were with us. We got so desperate. We were looking for a table service meal. It was over Dopey over marathon weekend. I don't know. I think it was the night before the full.
So it was the night before the full, and we were going to go to Boat Rights.
Right. We couldn't even get into Boat Rights, ladies and gentlemen. And Boat Rights is the table service restaurant at Riverside, which half of you right now are like, where's Boat Rights again? That's right. That's why we were going to go there, because we're like, nobody remembers where Boat Rights is. Couldn't even get in there. That's how crazy these restaurants. And this was under, this was like in 2017 or 18.
2016, yeah.
It was,
it was my first marathon, yeah.
Yeah, it was
and
crazy.
Where did we end up eating that night? Do you remember?
We go to Olivia's. We went
to Olivia's and we had the patio reserved like all for ourselves. It's like the best meal ever. But.
Is that where Olivia's became a thing for you too?
Yeah, it was already a thing for me. It might have been Mike's first time though.
I remember going with you guys for that one. I remember trying to get into Boat Rights too, and we could not. Yeah. So yeah, that was a bummer. But hey, we got Olivia's. And that
absolutely right though, Mike. You got to pack your patience with. Even if you have an ADR, you might not get it right away, because some of these meals might be long for some of these guests. They're with groups of friends that they haven't seen in a long time, so there's lots of conversation. So I feel like even the ADRs might be backed up even a little bit. Like if you have a 7 o'clock, you might not get it until like 7:15, 7:20, 7:30 even. So got to pack the patience for sure with dining.
That is a great point, because the tables tend to stay longer. You're right, because that's exactly it.
We've done it.
We're guilty of it. I mean, because we talk all the time via text every day, but when we actually get together, share a drink, have a nice meal, you get those, 48 hours, 72 hours, 96 hours over the weekend, and you're running these races. But here's the good news too, for everybody that's going down. If you're not a runner, is that say you want to stay in the parks and see the fireworks, or you want to do that, those couple hours after the fireworks in the Magic Kingdom, man, this is where having all these runners on property is great, because the runners tend to bounce out of the parks usually at about 6 or 7, usually about, they bounce out around dinner time. And so nighttime in the parks, we've been in the parks till closing. It's stupid because you don't get any sleep. I mean, very rarely. I tend to go back, but here's the thing. Runners don't sleep anyway. I've learned that. Like I go back, especially before the full, I never sleep a wink the night before anyway, but you got to be off your feet. But if you're going to go as you're vacationing, I mean, Ricky, you've probably seen this because you get up and cheer a lot of times early in the morning, but you can go into the parks, and especially over these race weekends, like, from supper time on to park closing, I mean, those parks are very low capacity. I mean, there's hardly anybody in there.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely you do notice the drop for sure. So, it's because people do have to go to bed a little bit earlier. So they do tend to leave the parks just a smidgen earlier too. So, it's been a while since I haven't gotten up early for the races, so I'm one of the ones who's leaving too, because even people like me who are there just to cheer, we're leaving the parks early too. So not just the runners, but the cheerers are usually leaving as well. So parks can be pretty good if you're looking to hit up some of those awesome attractions that you normally would have to wait forever for. I'm looking at you like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. You might have a shot at it on one of those nights, so that's a good thing.
But the parks will be crazy at about 10 o'clock in the morning, because, between 10 and noon, that's when all the runners, because again, the races start at 5. So the runners are finished, between 7 and 8, you got to catch a bus back to your hotel. Usually folks get a shower, change, and they get out to the parks usually between 10 and noon and catch lunch at a theme park or at some resort nearby. So those hours between 10 and supper are kind of crazy in the theme parks. I'll be honest, especially for the wine and dine race weekend.
Yeah, you're actually that kind of transitions to what I was about to say. You were talking about closing the parks down, but rope dropping is a really huge benefit.
100%.
Maybe outside of the 5K, because the 5K, runners can finish it pretty earlier if they're running. A lot of us will just walk it and do a real casual race, but because that race finishes so early, you can still go back to your hotel, shower, and still possibly rope drop. But on the 10K and the half, and the full for January. That's a really great time to go to the parks because everyone's out running or cheering. So take advantage of that for sure.
And Ricky kind of mentioned this earlier. I know a lot of folks, they say they're down there in the, race weekend, and it is exciting. I mean, I will say, I just ran the Chicago Marathon a few weeks ago, and that was probably my favorite race that I've run, purely from the running event aspect. I was running all by myself the entire race, so that wasn't fun. All the other races I've done at Disney with my friends, that's always been my best memories of the overall experience. But as far as the race itself, even though at Disney, I've run through castles and I've run under Spaceship Earth and, I've run through Pandora with before the sun came up, that stuff's all really cool. But the thing was in Chicago was there were people everywhere for almost the entire 26 miles. You don't get that at a Disney race. And so you may be saying, well, I'm going to be here and I'm kind of caught up in the hoopla. I'm excited. I want to get out there and cheer. Ricky kind of mentioned this. You have this opportunity in some instances, but it's not like your hometown races for the most part. Like, Scott mentions the races that they have in Detroit. I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities to be a spectator, make a sign, get out there and really cheer the runners. Chicago, you could run anywhere. You could just walk out and just cheer anywhere you want. At Disney, because, these are limited access roads, you can't just typically walk outside your hotel onto one of these, dually kind of roads like World Drive or Buena Vista Drive or anything like that. There's very limited places you can cheer, and it does take a lot of work to get to cheer at these things. I mean, if you want to cheer, say the half marathon this weekend, there are a few designated places, but I mean, you got to get up at 3 a.m, get on a bus and get to a place and stage and be waiting for a couple hours for the runners to come by. It's not as easy as you might think. However, I don't want to discourage you, especially if you're there for marathon weekend. I will say, I'm not trying to put down anybody else because this is what I saw. This was before I ever ran a marathon. This was in 2010. I ran my first marathon in 2015, but I was just there for the half marathon and I was just watching the marathon. I was with Deb Wills. I was standing next to her watching the marathon. It was so cold. That was the year that it sleeted for the half marathon. And then
that was such a cold.
On the marathon Sunday, it was crystal clear blue skies, but it was colder on the marathon Sunday. I mean, it was in like upper 20s. It was so cold.
It was so cold.
And I stood with Deb Wills in Future World. And I just remember watching, because this was mile 26, like they had 0.2 to go. They said, get out of the park and into the parking lot. And like, I was not a runner at all. Like, I mean, I was in sports and everything, but to watch the end of a marathon, I'm telling you what, man, it's emotional. Even if you're not a runner, like you see people crying, you see people crawling, you see people that are just ready to quit. I mean, they're hating life. And there's some people that are just like, they've overcome things. You see people that are limping. You see people like carrying each other, like helping each other at that point. I saw a fireman in full gear. Like, I'm like, dude, the guy's carried the oxygen tanks and he's got the boots and he's gone 26 miles. And like, I'm complaining because I got to walk back to America to get some barbecue. I mean, what's wrong with me? Like if you get the opportunity to be able to go watch it on Main Street, like for the half marathon of the full and the Magic Kingdom, there is an energy, like Scott mentioned on Wednesday, being in, like a college town during a big football game. It's probably not that, but there is an energy from the runners and also from the cheers that's kind of exchanged. It's a pretty cool thing. So I would say get out there. I think you would get caught up in the hoopla because I've been on the cheering side too a few times, and it's cool. Ricky, you've done it. I mean, it's kind of cool to be there and to see like it. You see people from all walks of life and from all, the thing is, I always wonder as I run these races now, like when people are passing me for the most part, or when I'm passing a few people, like Scott mentioned this, everybody's got a story. Like today on the 5K, every person out there has got a journey. They've got a story. There's a reason they got to Walt Disney World this weekend to run this race or to run these races. Like why do they get up and train? Why do they go run these races? And maybe if they were inspired by somebody that got sick and they're running in their memory, or they had something in their life. They're trying to overcome something to make them healthier. I wonder all those races, and a lot of times you get to see this as a spectator because it's pretty cool. I like spectating a distance race is pretty fun.
I'll just throw this out there too, not to be selfish kind of, but like if you're in the parks and you see someone wearing a medal, like shoot them like a congratulations or like way to go. Like, I mean, I don't know, like I like to wear my medals just for that reason. Like I like strangers telling me like, hey, way to go, man, on that race. Yep. So I mean, you don't have to say it to every single person, but if you just like are in line standing next to someone or whatever, like it's kind of fun to give a little shout out to them.
Yeah, I get a kick out of when somebody just asks, like, what's your story? Like, because, like when you're waiting in line for Jungle Cruise, it's a 50-minute wait and you're just standing next to somebody you don't know. Like, because a lot of folks are just like, well, what is that race about? It doesn't have to be your story, but like, oh, what's the Dopey Challenge? And you explain to them, like, dude, you are nuts. I'm like, I know. It's so dumb. Like I paid $600 for that too. And they're like, oh my God, you are really nuts. I'm like, totally. Yeah, you're right. Oh, Ricky, you had something. Go ahead.
No, that was exactly going to be my next thing. Is to congratulate people while you see them in the parks. It's such a great thing to be able to tell them congratulations. And it gives, as someone who has run, a half and has worn my medals around Walt Disney World, there is something to. You're right. It is a sense of accomplishment, but you've worked your butt off and you wear those medals proudly, you've done something that you never thought you could do maybe or whatever. And so you're proud to wear those medals. So, just give a little shout out to people. We say it all the time, Brian and I, when we're passing people in the parks, we always say congratulations, way to go, whatever. So, that just try to do that to people you see, like you said, maybe not everybody, but just a few, and it will. There's something special because, like you said, you can have a conversation, or whatever. So yeah, definitely congratulate those who have run because it's a really cool thing.
It's just it's one of those things, like when you see somebody with a birthday button or a anniversary button at Walt Disney World, just saying happy anniversary or congratulations on your wedding, or
exactly.
Oh, it's cool. It's your first visit. That's I love this place. I'm glad you got to check it out. For a runner, I mean, like I love when people say congratulations to me. That makes my day, right? And I've done it a bunch of times, but like for somebody that they just finished that race and like that was they did it, and they couldn't believe they could do it. Like somebody that doesn't even know the sign and I'm not kidding. This sign gets me there's some funny ones. I love funny ones.
Oh, the funny. Yeah.
I love the one that says, don't trust a fart after mile 2. That's always my favorite, but that's probably inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a runner thing. The one that gets me every time, that gets me like all choked up, is the one that says something like, there's two. There's one on the Marathon Sunday. It always says, today you become a marathoner. Oh, like I love that one every time, even though I've done it a couple times. I'm like, oh, every time. But the one that gets me is, hey, it says something like, hey, complete stranger, I'm so proud of you. Like that's that. Awesome. That's the essence of the whole experience.
Yeah.
It's somebody that you don't know just saying, hey, congratulations. Like that is so cool. And I try to do that to other runners too. So being there's just kind of like a whole like camaraderie. And here's, as we kind of close this up, because we're about out of time. And Scott, you've seen this from both sides. We've all three seen this from both sides. But the thing is, like, I would say don't change your trip, because I think it's not going to be the logistical nightmare like you might think. This stuff happens at 5 a.m. so that your vacation is not impacted hardly at all, unless you're like super early, and Disney works around that for the most part. You're going to be fine. But here's the other thing I would close with, and my little 2 cents. Let yourself kind of get caught up in the energy.
Yes.
The energy adds to your vacation, not takes away from your vacation.
It makes my trip so much better. Honestly. Yeah, it really does. It makes my trip so much better. So, I have my bag of stuff that I bring with me all the time for marathon weekend and whatever. And it's a glove so I can give high fives. Cause trust me, well, I mean, I don't know if that you might not want to give high fives now, but I definitely want mitts or something.
I ran the last full marathon wearing those the whole time.
I cannot believe you did that. That was insane. I can't believe it, because I can't stand anything like that. Oh.
Yeah. So if you're planning on giving high fives, put on a glove. But just get out there, have a sign, maybe, whatever, but just go out there and cheer everybody. Don't think, oh man, there's a race this weekend, it's going to ruin my vacation. It is not. Just go out there and have fun with everybody, that's out there running, because you will get something out of it. I can guarantee, if you just go out there and cheer people on, even if you're just yelling and screaming, have cowbells, whatever, you will get something out of it if you're just even there just as, a visitor for the weekend. So. Yeah.
It's really hard to describe, Scott, from either side, right? I mean, we're talking about it today, but until you actually are there over a race weekend, it's hard to talk about the energy. I mean, we can kind of give you the logistics of, avoid the, just watch the traffic flow, blah, 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 that other stuff. But if you're there, just allow yourself to enjoy it. It's it's a different way. Again, I always say this on the show, find a different way to see Disney. If you've been there many, many times, this is a different vibe. But it's a really cool vibe, I think.
It's a different vibe. It's a cool vibe. And honestly, like, I really don't think it impacts your vacation all that much. Like, if you go during the holidays, it's going to, the parks will feel crowded, as we talked about earlier, but the attractions won't be as crowded as normal. And yeah, it's just, if you go during any kind of busy time, that's exactly what it's going to be like. And it shouldn't have any impact, really.
And Nicole in the live chat, this is kind of the closing comment of today's show. I love this. She said, seeing the Tinkerbell finishers at Disneyland is why Mike and I guess it's her significant other, decided to run, it's truly magical. And I think that, you know what? I bet that is true by, for so many folks that you're just there and you say, you know what, God, like you're just walking around the park and you see somebody carrying around a medal. Like Scott, you mentioned today, folks are going to be walking around with that Snow White medal. And somebody's going to say, you know what? I could probably train myself to go 3.1 miles here in the next year and get a medal like that. Snow White's one of my favorite characters. And, this is what got me, right? I'm in St. Louis. I never trained, but I was like, shoot, I'll sign up for that race and go down to Florida in January and get out of the snow for a weekend. Hey, we all have our little carrot. And I think Run Disney's a nice little carrot for a lot of us. It's cost us a lot of money. It's an expensive carrot. I'm just telling you. I thought I always told myself running's going to be super cheap because I played hockey. Hockey was super expensive. All the equipment. I speed skated. That was expensive. Baseball, everything super expensive. I thought running, all you need is a pair of tennis shoes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was the stupidest thing I ever said in my life. I don't even know how much I've spent on running. If you think about it all. Anyway, hopefully you got something out of today's show and we sneakily got it in there for the runners. Hopefully it's getting you excited for this weekend. Welcome back, Run Disney, or Marathon Weekend, which will be here before you know it. Princess Half Marathon Weekend in February, which is a great weekend to run because the weather is always awesome for that one. And then surprise, we'll find out what's going on March 31st with that weekend here, hopefully very soon. Don't forget, today's show always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. They'd love to help you plan your next Disney getaway. They're a platinum earmarked agency, which means Disney has recognized them for being the best of the best. And we want to show you why for your next trip. Again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. It takes you right back to the Amazon site, but it does give us a little commission on those purchases, and it really does help support everything we do. Again, bookmark it, use it as often as you can. Thank you so much. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons for allowing us to put out this show 3 to 4 times a week all around the world. It's because of your support that we get to have all this fun. And our patrons get more fun every Thursday called Mike in the Midwest. It's a bonus podcast just for our patrons. If you'd like to get that, just visit patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. All right, we're lighting up the social media. Ricky at Ricky Nibs. Give her a follow on Instagram and Twitter at Epscott for Scott, EPSCOT. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube so you don't miss any time we go live. And no live show this Sunday night because we are all out of town. But we'll get that going again here next week. All right, so I think it's time to get out of here and wish the Be Our Guest Podcast Lizards, which again, this was a small little running group of a few of us that wore lime green years ago. And we have grown to a running group of 2,500 plus in the Facebook group. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And a lot of us are getting together for the first time this weekend. I know we've had a lot of lizards join us since the whole Run Disney shut down about 18 months ago. So welcome to you. I can't wait to meet you. Scott can't wait to meet you. Mike, I don't know if Mike's going to be there. I don't know who's going to be there. I haven't kept track. There's going to be a lot of us there this weekend. So just come on over and see us in the corrals. You can't miss us with shirts and, give a formal welcome into the Lizard family, but have a great run Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5, 10, half, get your medals. I'm allergic to bananas. I'm not going to take the banana. I'm not rude, but don't give me a banana.
Don't give a banana.
Seriously, that's the worst thing about being allergic to bananas in a running race. Dude, it's like you're playing Super Mario or something, trying to dodge those bananas. But so we'll get those. You get your little food box at the end. You get your medals. We'll get pictures. We'll have a good time. So safe travels, and we'll see you down there this weekend. So for Ricky and Pam and Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great weekend and a great run. Until we see you next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All right.
Awesome.
Yay!
So when you said that surprise Disney race, I was like, when is that day? Like, when is Easter? That can't be Easter weekend,
How does it?
No, so I looked, but it's when Emily's spring break is, so I might switch some things around. I might go out because we're trying not to pull her out of school as much.
Yeah.
I might just book a spring break trip. It seems kind of crazy, but
hey, why not?
I promise Pam and what's my
Mallory?
Mallory, yes, that one. I want to go to Pensacola Beach.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to do that.
That's
Nice.
fun.
But I don't know if my annual pass works over those dates, so I gotta do some research now.
Probably would be good.
Because I already booked it for like that weekend. I just planned on doing
March
it like
31st is super early.
I know. But that's our spring break is like the 25th through the 2nd.
Well, I bet they wanted it to be so that it wasn't as hot. Because
yeah, totally. Yeah, because you're bordering on if you did it like I don't think you could do a full marathon. I don't think they'd want to do a full.
They're not going to do a full. It's going to be half.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. But we'll see. Yeah, I wish I'd announced what it is though.
I mean, they will eventually.
I don't even know what I know that Pam and Mallory for once have the same spring break, but I don't know.
Oh, that's nice.
They were talking.
I think it's going to be. I may have said this before, but I think it's going to be park icons because it's the 50th anniversary. So the 5K will be the Tree of Life, the 10K will be the Tower Terror, the half will be Spaceship Earth, and if you do like a challenge, you get Cinderella's Castle.
Yeah, that makes sense. That'd be a good idea. I'd totally do that because I love the park icons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe it's just wishful thinking.
I mean, it's so easy. Like, right? I mean, why wouldn't they do that? That's like perfect, especially for the 50th.
Because that's not springtime.
Who cares? It's a 50th. I mean, because this is the last race of that season.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, we'll text you guys and.
All right. I will see you in 2 weeks.
Have a safe flight to Hawaii. Not jealous over here. You know the gift that I'm thinking of with Rachel. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not jealous at all.
Not jealous at all.
Nope.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And I hope you guys have a good time running and let's go Lizards.
Let's go Lizards.
Yeah.
Go Lizards.
All right, I'll talk to you guys.
Maybe I'll see you, Mike. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll probably get there. I'll probably, you know me. I always.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Get my golf.
All right.
All right. See you.
All right. See you guys.